Today I'm going to be teaching you how to conjugate regular ER and IR verbs in the present tense. So conjugating ER and IR verbs is extremely easy if you follow a quick three-step method: subject, verb, and ending. Let's start by conjugating regular ER verbs. Now we need to identify the subject pronoun. Just like we do in English, all French verbs are conjugated if you link a verb right next to a subject pronoun, such as I, he or she, and etc. So for example, if we're talking about he or she, we would be using il and elle as our French equivalent. Next, we need to identify the verb. In French, all verbs are categorized, all regular verbs that is, are categorized into three different types of verbs depending on their endings. Verbs that end in ER, verbs that end in IR, and verbs that end in RE. For this example, I'm using an ER verb, a regular ER verb, that's known as aimer, which means to like. We simply need to chop off the ending, and since this is an ER verb, we chop off the ER, and we're left with the root of the verb, aim in this case, which is known as le radical. Next, we simply add on the present tense endings to our verb root depending on what subject we're using. So for example, if we're using the subject je, we simply add on e to our aim radical, and we simply get aime as our finished conjugation of the verb. Now if we're trying to put that in a sentence, we simply put the subject before our conjugation and we get je aime. IR verbs are the exact same, only there's different endings. So for example, if we're using the IR verb finir, which means to finish, we chop out the ending and we get fin. And if we're using je as our subject again, we simply add on is and we get finis. And if we're trying to put that in a sentence once more, we would put the subject before our conjugation and we get je finis. And that's it. It's as easy as that. Just remember subject, verb, and ending.